Today we've got a whole bunch of weird news, like head scratchers, like what were these authors thinking? And when it comes to goofy, fun stuff like that, I like to have fun. And when I do that, I like to have my buddy Mark here with me from the Tesla Life podcast show. Tesla Life show. I'll get it right one of these days. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So Mark, I don't know if you heard, but sometimes the news media is super lazy.
Yeah, and wacky.
Now, here's a curveball I'm going to throw you because while I sent you the real article, what I didn't show you was this headline. Some avoid buying an EV because of charging issues. One company is working on a solution. Now, Associated Press has pretty high standards, but their standards are not sufficiently high that everything goes through an editor before it is published. So this one was written by 3 people. Immediately had the headline changed because from looking at this, you're thinking, is the company EV Go? I hope not, because EV don't go. Nope, they changed the headline to Profiles in Clean Energy. She founded a business to keep EV charging stations up and running.
Okay.
What a switcheroo the 3 of you pulled, because the editor surely saw it and said, that's inaccurate. So Miss Terry saw it coming. Before almost anyone else, she realized the expanding network would need a workforce to maintain it. So basically, she ended up taking a job with EV Connect, a company that made software for charging stations, in a position called driver support. And when they found something wasn't working, they would call in and she'd talk them through it. And she realized, you know what? This little job I have is a whole profession. Co-founded the company Charger Help with the aim of training a nationwide workforce of technicians to keep the repair stations working. What do you think of that?
I think that's problematic.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's great to have help. It's wonderful to have help when you're having difficulty charging. But the real problem is that many of the chargers are
broken,
unreliable in the first place.
Yeah, well, that is a problem. But her company is not trying to help me. They're trying to help the technicians. So it's higher up the food chain. I think if you can make a business out of it, by all means do. This guy clearly gave up his job prospecting for gold, I tells you. And now he's fixing EV chargers. I'm pretty sure that's right. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's this one is a goofy news story just because the headline was egregiously wrong. So that's fun.
How does he use the pan to fix those EV chargers? That gold runner.
There was a great skit on, I don't remember which show. I want to say it was an Australian sketch comedy show where they said, oh yeah, I'm having trouble with my monitor, and they're like, oh, we'll bring in, I forget the stereotypically Amish name they use. They're like, no, don't bring him. And an Amish guy comes in, and of course he just bangs it with a hammer and tries to saw it. And he's like, well, it looks broken to me. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. So yeah, Amish technicians, that's great. So ready to scratch your head because this one's a head scratcher. Get ready for Tesla 2.0. So far, so good. $45,000 Teslas based on the Model Y and 3 are only months away as Musk takes aim at Chinese rivals.
Yeah, this is not a head scratcher. This is just a headline grabber, a clickbait that is...
But it's so wrong.
It's not based on anything. It's just...
We already have $45,000 Teslas. That's not what we're looking at. And cars based on the Model Y and 3 are only months away. Says who? I know that's an aspirational goal to have them next year, but they didn't say in January, on January 1st. We've still got over 3 months to go. I mean, 3.5. And look, that's a completely different car. 45,000? That's not the objective, I don't think. I mean, the performance one, sure, but, oh, I see. 45,000 Australian. So US 30,000. Okay, well.
There you go.
That one's on me.
It's an Australian article.
But 30,000, at least in, I don't know if there are incentives in Australia. I don't believe there are at the moment. Fact check me in the comments. But 30,000. But Australia's not getting them. Certainly not in a few months. That'll be years. They get the models last. They are the last place that gets the new hotness. Okay. It's still really bad. It's still a bad article.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
and then they show a render. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, come on. Like, what are you doing here? It's clickbait. That's what it is.
Tesla Model 2 render. Okay. He said repeatedly it's not going to be called Model 2. Image K Design AG. Oh my gosh. Is that why it looks worse than AI? Because if we pull up AI images of compact, okay, well that's plenty dumb enough. But if you want to really, really dumb it down, New York Post out with this one. Michigan union members blame Biden electric vehicle mandate for auto industry layoffs. Want to slit our throats. Do you believe those two things are connected?
Based on the New York Post? No.
We'll get to that. Yeah, the auto industry is big business in Michigan, but we talked to industry workers who blame Biden and Harris for the administration's heavy-handed electric vehicle mandates. And Stellantis, who manufactures all this, announced last month it's going to lay off 2,400 people at its Warren plant. Okay, but what does that have to do with electric vehicles? And which mandate? UAW member Isaiah Gordon, 24, works on hybrid batteries at Ford's Rawsonville plant and said the forced transition is damaging the industry, says a guy who only has a job because he's making batteries. I'm sure the people I work with are glad to have jobs, but the problem is these EV departments, you're laying people off. In the EV departments, you're laying people off. Well, right, because you're not making good EVs.
That's the problem. Have a compelling car. It will sell. If you don't have a compelling car, they're going to sit on the lots.
Putting an electric motor together is like building a pinwheel or a paper airplane. There's some level of work that's involved, but the skill really isn't there. Less parts means less employees. So that's why they're doing layoffs, because of the 30 Hummers they sold.
That's ridiculous.
They can't sell the vehicles that the government, particularly Kameale Harris, is mandating them to buy. The vice president mandates people to do things?
Oh my
Her
goodness.
vote in legislation is as a tiebreaker in the Senate. And I don't know if that's a position she's had to exercise. I haven't checked. So what they're saying is Ford slashed more than 1,000 jobs at its Rogue Electric Vehicle Center in Dearborn after drastically scaling back its production. So wait, are you losing jobs because you're not making electric cars or because you are making electric cars?
Yeah, this is just backwards. We understand. There is a transition happening right now. EVs are starting to transition away from the current gasoline models. There is going to be ups and downs, but you know what? If you make a compelling EV, you are going to sell a lot. And guess what? You're going to employ a lot of people because they'll be producing what the public wants to buy.
I cannot agree more strongly. When I hear companies say there's just no demand for EVs, what I hear you say is there's no demand for your EVs at the price you're trying to sell them at. Again, we were talking about the Nissan Leaf recently, and if you'd have asked me, what would it take for me to get you to lease this brand new Nissan Leaf, I'd have said, there's no way. And then you'd say $20 a month. I'd say, wow, how many may I have? Because everything has a price.
That's right.
Everything has a price. That reminds me of a very, very crass joke my dad used to tell, which I will not repeat.
But you brought it up.
Oh, yeah. Someone in the comments will figure out what it is. They always do. Like when I mentioned that my racist grandmother had a disparaging name that she called the New York Times. 3-4 people were like, man, I know which one that is. So in terms of who the New York Post is, this will tell you. They're a very right-wing organization. It says lean right rather than just right, but it depends which factors you're looking at. And it is a tabloid. It is absolutely a tabloid. So it's unfortunate that they're using their megaphone to spread EV misinformation under the color of political discourse. I think it's very dishonest, but actually it's weird. It doesn't say it right here on screen. Normally it says New York Post. It's very dishonest. So that's kind of their, and it's weird because before York was their middle name, it was, fun fact, Macaulay Culkin. So I think that's a joke from before we went on air. So
that's right.
That's a
right.
callback to an inside joke.
That's going to be a tough one to bring. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one
Yeah.
for people to pick up on.
I don't think that one is quite as helpful as some of the other jokes, but we'll figure it out. We might have said it in the show. I don't know. We might have said it in yesterday's show. I don't remember. This headline's just confusing. Tesla Cybertruck, Honda Prologue, sky-high incentives, boost EV registration.
That's all over the board. What are they trying to tell us? It's like a bunch of different things rolled into one.
Well, it makes it sound like there are sky-high incentives on the Honda Prologue and the Tesla Cybertruck, which there are not.
Nope.
And there it is. Look at that lovely Honda Prologue. Boy, that looks familiar.
Yeah, it looks like a GM product.
Looks a little bit like an Equinox, doesn't it? It
is an Equinox.
Let's be honest. Just removed some cladding, and I don't remember if they had it on display at Everything Electric. If they did, I must have missed their booth. I thought I looked everywhere, but it may have been that it was there and I just didn't see it because my brain filtered it out because that's not a Honda. Yeah. So what they're saying in this headline is EV sales have surged. Here's 3 small contributing factors. Okay. Surged 18% in July compared to the same month last year on the strength of newer models such as the Cybertruck. Definitely helped those extra 5,000 units. Honda Prologue, which did not much. Well, let's just look at the actual numbers here. This is for, what did we just say? July. Tesla, Ford at 9,000, Chevy at 6,000, BMW 5,000, up 27%. Not bad because they were already being fairly serious. Hyundai's down a little, which surprises me. Nissan up 108%. Not great, but I mean, it sounds great until you look at last year's number was like 1,700.
Yeah.
Honda, you think those 3,000 units moved the needle, headline writer?
I don't think so.
I think they're just thinking, boy, let's find out if anybody will click on a story about the Honda Prologue. And then down, let's look at the bottom of the list. That's fun. Jeep.
Oh my gosh.
What does Jeep have? Ram? What do they have that's electric? Very weird. Rolls-Royce sold 37. Wow. Yeah, 37. Those are $750,000 cars. That's breathtaking. BrightDrop just narrowly beat Rolls-Royce.
Look at that up percentage for BrightDrop.
That's not the right number. What did they sell? Half a car? Okay, fine. Fisker. I barely know her. But I did see one at the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association ride and drive event. A gentleman was showing it. And everyone was very polite and sad because we're like, yeah, hey, cool. It looks nice. He's like, yeah, it does. It does. So best of luck, I suppose.
Yeah. Best of luck with service going forward.
Yeah. Magna, I do not believe, has a requirement to keep parts available.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Certainly not at any kind of reasonable price, and they're not on the hook for the warranty.
Oh.
So anyway, this article, very silly, moderately terrible. This one I love. You ready for some just terrible stuff? This is great. Portland mayoral hopeful, Carmen Rubio, dogged by driving record and damages parked Tesla, then walks away.
Oh, jeez.
So
this is in your backyard.
This is my backyard. So I won't play the video, but you can go to this. There's a link in the description for this article, and you can click on the video or just look it up on YouTube. And it's the Sentry Cam footage of her full on just hitting the car. I mean, hitting it. And then I think there's pictures lower down here. That's the damage to the Tesla, and the rim even is all, banged up. The tires damaged.
Tires ripped. My gosh.
She got it pretty good. And then she just and that's her car. It doesn't look quite as bad, but she didn't look at her car. She just looked at the car she hit. She's like, meh, looks fine. Goes to her appointment. And so the person left a note saying, I have a video. The car has camera angles all around. I saw you hit my car. Call this number or I'm calling the cops. She called, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I felt something, lady. And then, because she's a real gem, we found out a little bit more. They had run an article about her driving history, where we found out that she had racked up 150 parking and traffic violations over 20 years and had her license suspended 6 times.
She's a menace on the road. She's a menace.
I don't know how long a normal suspension is, but it has to be a substantial percentage of 20 years. They also referred to unpaid parking tickets to a collection agency on at least 100 occasions.
Oh my gosh. This woman's a gem.
A gem, and she's running for mayor.
Can you imagine what she could do with city finances? Be crazy.
Yeah. I cannot imagine what she would do with anything. Oh my gosh. So guys, if you see some weird news that we need to cover, you can let us know. We're here for that. Yeah. We like to have some fun. And you know what I like to do when I'm looking for fun? I go on YouTube and I check out the Tesla Life show. I check out Patrick and Casey and sometimes Mark, but really, I'm just being difficult. But it's a lot of fun and I enjoy their channel. And that's why Mark is a regular, and not just because he moved in on my channel after I had him on as a guest and he just kept sending me headlines and saying,
bothering you
and just saying, hey, I'm free Wednesday. How's 7 PM? Do you want to look at these? And I'm like, yeah, we can do that. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Are we dating? I think we're internet dating. So it worked out. And that is how I met your mother. So, you guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? I thank you guys so much for being part of the fun. We have fun here. I think people watching the Brian and Mark show or the Mark and Brian show have figured that out by now. There's also, the little matter of paying the bills. If you can handle it, if you want to use my referral link, you get $1,000 off, and it helps me out. You can become a channel member on YouTube. You can become a subscriber on X. You can become a patron on Patreon, because YouTube famously pays F all. And I will be probably around the end of the year posting a video when I hit 10 million views to show you just how much money that pays. But it is potentially a bit less than you might think. Because, if I've seen you on the little screen, you must be famous and therefore rich. And it unfortunately doesn't work that way. I know firsthand. So thank you guys for your support, ongoing and otherwise. And thank you, Mark, for being here. You make it a lot of fun, and I appreciate that.
Thanks, Brian.
Everybody else, like, subscribe, do the usual, and stay tuned. Stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots when you bang into my car and don't even leave a note.